Go for it, man.
Yo, because it's great. Yo, this is what I'm talking about. This is what the NBA needs.
Yeah. All right, so we live. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you come into the channel. Check out the content. I think we got another good show coming up, man. We got some good topics to discuss. Then as far as the WNBA, the NBA, the trades, what went on with the Milwaukee Bucks. Man. So we got a lot of good, topics. Now I got my man E-Man in here. I got Clayton. I got Tump.
Yes, sir.
How y'all fourth going though, man? How y'all fourth going? This holiday weekend.
Oh, not bad. Not bad.
Yeah. That's what's up, man. That's what's up.
Just them, where we at. Just them gunshots last night was a little off-putting for me.
Yeah.
I'm older now. When I was young, that shit used to be exciting. Not anymore.
Yeah,
I'm up 2:30 in the morning. I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah.
What's this
somebody go to sleep, please. Somebody go to sleep.
Yes, go to sleep. Put that shit away for me.
I'm trying to.
Yeah, but it was cool. Every day good for me, man. So
yeah,
I don't separate them. Yep. What y'all think about old boy in Toronto, the GM? They let him go.
I was wondering what was about that, right? They said it was a mutual partner way.
Mutual parting of the ways.
Yeah, but he had been there some years. Yeah. And he helped
built the championship and everything.
Right. He put that championship team together. Yeah. And so he'll get it, y'all. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
Yeah.
I've been meaning. I want to reach out to my man. I want to reach out to G-Day and ask him about that because they got a relationship too. His boy up there in Toronto.
Yeah. What's his name? Samu Jerry? Something like that?
Samu Jerry. Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. So look, man, I heard somebody bring something up about the pressure, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna start with the WNBA, then we're gonna get into some NBA, right? But I did hear somebody bring up something about the pressure that Caitlin Clark is under as far as the WNBA, right? And so I wanted us to talk about the level of pressure that y'all might think that she's under, right? And so let me give some examples. Right now, we on the screen we see Tiger Woods and Venus and Serena Williams. Then we got Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I want from y'all, I want y'all to rate the level of pressure that y'all think that Caitlin Clark as an individual is under. And I'm gonna give y'all some examples and let me see where y'all think she fall in at. I might have left some of these examples off of here though.
I can tell you exactly what my opinion is of it. She's under 10. She's under more pressure than any of those guys. All
right, well let me hold up. I got another one I want to add here. This is hitting. Some of these because of some of this might just fall off. All right, so we're gonna rate from a 1 to 5. All right, so 5 is the pressure that Jackie Robinson and Bill Russell faced, right? Jackie Robinson, Bill Russell, that these dudes was pioneers in the one was pioneer in the baseball, Jackie Robinson. Now I don't think she up here, but I'm just putting them on the scale just to give a 1 through 5. So a 5 would be Jackie Robinson and Bill Russell, right? With them being pioneers in their respective sports,
right?
And what they had to face in order to overcome, being pioneers in their respective sports, right? So I will rate that as a number 5.
Right.
And so now,
that's the scale. That's the scale, right?
Right. That's the scale. That's from 1 to 5.
All right.
Then at number 4, I got Serena Williams, Venus Williams, and Tiger Woods. Now, I got them at number 4 because the times was different. They faced some racial tension and some racial pushback.
For sure.
But they were minorities in their sport, right?
That's right.
You know what I mean? It was minority in their sports, but the times was different from what Bill Russell and Jackie Robinson. So although they got a whole lot of pushback and a lot of resentment, that was different. That's a number 4.
Right.
All right, so now let me see if I got number 3 on here. Also, I think Larry Bird, Magic Johnson was about a. Can y'all agree with that? Do y'all think they was about a 4, or what?
I disagree with that.
Where you think they would fit at?
I don't think Bird Magic had a lot of pressure on them because the league was coming into its own anyway. I just think them two, they capitalized off them two in their ride.
No. I agree with you saying they didn't have much pressure, but they the one brought the league up.
Back.
Yeah, they brought the league back. Yeah. I wouldn't say that the league was on the upswing because when they came in, the league, the fouls were still on tape delay and things like that. So, they gave the NBA a much needed shot in the arm. That being said, I don't think it was pressure on them to do that.
That's my point, man. It was no pressure. Nobody wasn't saying Bird Magic's going to lift our league and save it. That was something that organically exploded.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, now what about like their fan bases though? You know what I mean? Like their fan bases, the two fan bases, you had one Magic on the West Coast and you had Larry on the East Coast, and those two fan bases just was like just going at it.
Right.
So y'all don't think that? Go ahead, man.
I'm going to say, Mike, I got, I feel what you're saying right now, but your first two examples to me can't be into this argument because your first two examples are racially motivated far as pushing and the pressure. Okay. Caitlin Clark, the Magic Johnson and Larry Bird thing, they're a little bit different. They were saving leagues. Okay. They were saving dying leagues. Magic Johnson and Bird came in, saved the NBA as a dying league. Caitlin Clark is saving the WNBA as a dying league. What you put up with the basketball and the Jackie Robinson and everything, they broke racial barriers. They didn't actually necessarily break into a dying league. They brought elements into a league that wasn't there or didn't exist or wasn't acknowledged. Okay. So now, when you come to the Tiger Woods and all that, golf was still popular as ever when Tiger came in. He just broke the racial profile of black golfers, just as well as Serena and the Williams sisters did the same thing for tennis. So that's kind of a different atmosphere when you're talking about the pressure. So to me, Caitlin Clark has a 5 pressure on her because of the simple fact that right now, the WNBA is at an all-time high because of her. No matter what we say, no matter how we judge it, they are at an all-time high because of her. And look, going forward, their future plans because of what she's been able to do to bring the league forward. Okay, their expansion plans is faster than any other league has ever been. I mean, they have really they're really going for it right now. Okay, you're talking 4 teams in the next 3 years, and you're talking about another 18 teams in the next 5 to 7 years. So when it comes to that pressure, I think Caitlin Clark is handling the pressure well. The question is going to be now is she's going to be able to go forward and be that person that they're going to need to push it forward. Okay, because she got the train running, but everybody knows it's a train. You got to keep it moving. Because once that train stops again, it's hard to get it moving again. So you got to keep constantly make that train move. So, I don't think it's a fair description to put her into that Jackie Robinson in them phase.
Right.
Let me ask you guys a question. Was Bill Russell the first black man in the NBA?
No.
Okay. So even with that, I wouldn't put him with Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson definitely was facing pressure because he was going to be the first to break the color barrier. And what he did, other players coming behind him solely depending on what he did and how he handled the racial attacks and everything. So I wouldn't even put Bill Russell in the same category with Jackie
If I'm
Robinson.
not mistaken, Bill Russell might have been the first black player to win a championship, though.
Okay, that's fair. But I'm just saying he wasn't breaking the color barrier. That's all I'm saying.
No, yeah. But all right, so let me just say this about Bill Russell though. Yeah, you're right. He didn't break the color barrier as far as the NBA go, right? But the rate, the pushback that he got as far as like not being able to stay at certain hotels, not being able to eat at certain restaurants and stuff like that. So I just put him on there with Jackie because that's like kind of comparable, right?
Right.
he still was like discriminated against heavily, you know, in a league where he was a minority. And so,
Right.
you know,
but there was no pressure on him to help the league. So that was his own stuff. He had to deal with it. That was an internal thing he had to deal with, and being strong enough to withstand that and keep going. That wasn't like the league need him to do this. Where Jackie, the league needed Jackie to sustain and to show a great deal of forbearance against all that racial stuff. They needed that. The NBA didn't necessarily need Bill to do it. Bill needed to do it for himself because he loved basketball, and he had a team.
You gotta also remember though, with
that
Jackie,
helped him.
yeah, but you gotta remember with Jackie Robinson and that ordeal that he went through as far as baseball didn't want him. Okay.
No, they went to him.
No. Baseball did not go to him. The Dodgers went to him. The Dodgers. Yeah, they did not want him.
No, that's what I meant. Well, that's still baseball. The Dodgers wanted him.
Right, and the baseball for them. Baseball for them.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm saying the Dodgers had the foresight to see this. They wanted him. So they needed him to be able to withstand. Whether it was all of Major League Baseball or not, the Dodgers needed him. So
yeah, well, the Dodgers wanted him because of what he could do. Let's not get it wrong. He was a talented baseball player. Black, white, orange, yellow. He was talented.
Let me come in with this, right? It's more so his mental fortitude that they really needed. Because there's a lot of books and stories I've read on the topic, right? I'm not saying I'm no expert or anything like that. They were saying there's a lot of teams in that Negro League that Jackie Robinson wasn't even made. So he was far from the best Negro player.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? But his mental fortitude, his makeup, the way he carried himself, he was articulate. Things like that. That's what they needed. They needed someone who wouldn't run in the stands and fight somebody or charge the mound with the bat in the hand, things like that. You know what I mean?
Right, but what I'm saying is the mentality of baseball was we don't need black players in our league. The Dodgers had to break through that with Jackie Robinson, but the league itself didn't embrace that at first. Okay, so that wasn't a league thing. That was a team thing, an owner thing that's saying, "Hey, this is what we need to do because I need this great player on my team."
But I don't think the Dodgers was alone in wanting to recruit some of those Negro players either. It might not have been league-wide,
but the Dodgers wasn't the only organization. But for the first 3 years of Jackie Robinson, he was the only one.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, if the Dodgers had that mindset, I'm sure other teams had it. I'm not saying it was all of Major League Baseball because it wasn't. You make a good point. But I know other teams, so somebody got to go first. And to be able to recruit some of these other great players, we got to go with the one guy that has, like Tunk says, the mental fortitude to be able to handle what's going to happen. So that opens the gateway because baseball is always going to small countries, other places to try to find a diamond in the rough. And these Negro League players was fantastic.
But that's now though. Back in the 50s and stuff, that wasn't a transitional thing. Baseball was all American. Baseball didn't transcend into other countries like that.
I was just using that as an example. This is the nature of baseball. They go to recruit and try to find talent. I'm not saying they were doing that then, going to small countries. I'm just saying that's their nature.
Well, let me say this, right, because y'all bring up a good point. Like when we talk about mental fortitude, right? And so when y'all speak about mental fortitude, and you talk about and then you think about Caitlin Clark and her having to put up with certain things in this league in the WNBA. Caitlin Clark, the WNBA, they say is 74% African American, right? And so that is not really, you know what I mean? Like to be a minority in a league. Now, I think we all agree that she's not, like, the level of pressure would not be the same as like Jackie Robinson. But what about all right? Tiger Woods was a minority in his sport. And he also, like Caitlin Clark, brought new eyes to the sport, right?
Yes.
Venus and Serena Williams also brought new eyes to tennis. You know what I mean? Because African Americans really didn't play tennis to the level of, you know what I mean, before Venus and Serena. And in that, within that their sport, they got some pushback, just like Tiger Woods, just like what Caitlin Clark is, you know, her being a minority in her sport.
But Mike, that's a different. See, Kayla Clark is getting a different pushback, Mike, and that's what I'm trying to explain. Tiger Woods came into golf when golf was at its popular point. Okay, so he's not making golf popular. He's bringing golf to black people. Okay, which is a racial type of motivation. The same as Serena and Serena and her sister. They're bringing it to the black culture, which is all a racial, you know, aesthetic to what's going on to them. Caitlin Clark is not, you know, she's saving a league. Okay. She's transcending the WNBA to now what can be one of the hottest leagues right now going because of who she is, like we all say, and what she brings to the table. Okay. So that's the difference. She's saving a dying league. Okay. That pressure
that's true. I can agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, that pressure has to be tremendous.
Let me ask him this real quick. You're right. So she is like, the league is on an upswing because of her, right?
Yeah.
But still, you know what I mean? That don't mean that she's not still getting pushback and being a minority in her sport, though, right?
See, I don't think the racial thing is where the major pushback is coming. There's already been white stars in the WNBA. Breonna Stewart, Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi, all these other ones. The pushback, I think, more than anything, is all the hype and attention that she's getting, and she's straight. I sent you guys a link in the group chat. You saw Sydney Colson come behind, and she quickly dismissed that. Yo, no, bro, no, thank you. You know, and I think that's more of the pushback than anything, because this league is very cliquey, like you said, Mike, last week. And I think that's more of the pushback. But as far as her pressure, she's not under any pressure. This is why. No, because pressure is subjective. And pressure is based on how you perceive things. Nobody on the outside can tell that young lady what type of pressure she's facing. I'll take you guys back to when she did Pat McAfee when she was coming into the league, right? They interviewed her, and Pat asked her, do you feel any pressure to grow the league? And she had the greatest answer. She said, no, because the league is going to grow anyway. It's going to evolve. Everything that has life evolves and grow. She said, all I have to do is just be me. It's going to do that anyway. Think about it. Maya Moore, she was the little girl watching all these girls play. It was no pressure for them to grow the league. They was just playing ball. And then here comes this young girl that gets inspired by the league. She creates this big fan base, and boom, organically, you have what you have. So
it's not organic. I'm gonna tell you why it's not organic. Because I'm gonna tell you why it's organic, because you just said it. They had stars coming in the league at all points in time, but yet they're dying. Okay, but that's not organic to come in. She came in with a fan base from college. She came in already with the hype from college, and let's be Angel Reese helped with that too. You know, Angel Reese first came in it, huh?
I disagree with that. That girl had a fan base before that happened. I'll say this too.
No. I'm saying when they both came in the league, they both brought their fan bases in to make people watch.
The reason I say it's organic, because her fan base grew organically. Nobody created that fan base for her. That's an organic phenomenon.
We're talking about the hype that she's bringing to the WNBA. She brought that with her. Listen, if it was any other player, do we think that would have happened? No. So the WNBA didn't grow organically. Because
it did because she entered the league.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. If she wouldn't have entered the league, would the WNBA be in the place that it's in now?
No, but
exactly. So the WNBA didn't grow organically.
Let me share this with you, man. But the WNBA did nothing to grow it. The girl came into the league, and that sparked the explosion.
But we're not talking about what they did. You said the WNBA would grow organically.
That's what makes it organic.
Listen, they've been in the league for almost 30 years. How long do you need to take to grow organically?
bro.
You needed a shot in the arm. They needed some fertilizer or something to put in that tree to get that tree to grow.
Bro, all I'm saying to you is everything needs a watershed moment. You cannot create the watershed moment. It happens at an anointed time. So that's why I'm saying
you absolutely can create a moment.
The WNBA didn't do anything to create this explosion. The girls' fan base and the popularity of her coming into the league created the explosion. So it's organic.
And that's my point. That is my point. That is exactly my point. So it can't. So the WNBA can't grow organically because they had 20 years to do it.
But that's how it did. But that's why it is organic, because her fan base came by a natural process. So now the WNBA is reaping. Let me finish. The WNBA is reaping the benefits of this young lady coming into their league.
Right. So my theory of organic is this, okay? Something that will automatically grow no matter what you do to it. Okay? That's my definition of being organic. The WNBA would not grow if Caitlin Clark was not there.
Yes, but no matter what they've been doing over these last 30 years, they couldn't stop the growth because this girl came in.
Growth? What the WNBA? That's what my whole point. The WNBA has not been growing. They lost teams.
No, but we're talking about
teams. We're talking about recent growth, though, man. We're talking about recent growth.
We're talking about her. Yeah.
But what I'm telling you is this: we're talking about recent growth. I understand that, but what I'm saying it's not organic growth. It's because of one player. Listen, it's because of one player walked her ass into this league with her fan base already there. It's because another player walked her ass into that league 2 years ago with her fan base already there. That's why we're talking about it. That's not something organic, because if neither one of those two stars walked into the WNBA, we're not talking WNBA.
I don't even know what organic mean. I don't even know. That's what organic mean, man.
Organic means it's a natural growth and it's something that's a natural process. Man, what you don't understand is all those girls coming into the league is part of it. It's an ingredient for growth. So they don't have no control over these young ladies' fan bases. These young ladies get inspired by their league and they want to play basketball. All of that is just part of a process.
So let me ask you a question.
WNBA is not WNBA is not orchestrating this. It's happening organically.
Let me ask you a question. If Caitlin Clark does not come in the league, does the WNBA grow?
Yes, but this is my point. But the WNBA is not the ones that made Caitlin Clark popular.
That's my point. That is the point.
That's why it's organic, because our fan base is organically grown.
I'm not talking about what Caitlin Clark base is. I know Caitlin Clark base is. I'm talking the WNBA.
But that's part of the process. Let me look at the NBA. The NBA started off the Celtics dynasty. Dr. J came into the league. Magic and Bird came to the league. All this is an organic process.
Yeah. Well, all right. Moving off of that, right? Kent Carlson, my man Kent Carlson, welcome back to the chat. And thanks for the super chat. Kent says that we all know what CC brought to this point. She also is a crossover. She's also the one that crossover and brought a lot from the golf world. Also, let me see. That's organic, right? And so, I mean, like Tom said, organic. I just think that with Caitlin Clark, she comes, and my point for this whole argument or discussion is the fact that the pressure that she's under, because she did bring her own fan base, right? Mm-hmm. Now, some of her fan base is not even. Some people might even say some parts of her fan base is not even really basketball fans. Like they're fans who just fans of Caitlin Clark because they think she's a generational talent and they want to see her succeed in a league that is where she is a minority. Just like the same thing with when you think about boxing, right? A lot of people wasn't boxing fans, right? Then you had Jack Johnson had an opportunity to to challenge and fight white people for the championship. So that right there drew attention to people. Tiger Woods, again, black people really didn't play golf to the level as as like they did before Tiger Woods. Tennis, same thing for them. So that's why I says that, like they just create their own fan base, and then that puts pressure on them because a certain part of the fan base don't want to see them succeed, and other people want to see them succeed. So that's like pressure right there. And that's why I thought that, like the discussion would be. Go ahead, Tom. You was going to say something.
Yeah, let me ask you a question. The greats that you mentioned, Serena and Venus and Tiger, Bird and Magic, right? Do you think that the pressure that was on them to succeed, when you're great like that, right? Do you think that pressure from the outside, do you think that made a difference with them, or they was just so focused and driven that the outside, noise didn't mean as much?
That part.
Yeah, I like. All right, so my answer to that, right? I always say I like the way Magic and Bird handled that pressure because they didn't really feed into that fan base, right? Some things that go on within your fan base or the fans, you got to block that out. Their job was to just play basketball, and I think I see a lot of that in Caitlin Clark. I also saw a lot of that in Venus and Serena Williams, right? Like their father purposely told them, do not respond to none of the negativity that was out there. And so in the long run, that benefited Tiger Woods, Serena Williams, Venus Williams. And so it's like how you handle that pressure will allow you to go on and be great like what people think that you are. If that answers your question.
So let me ask a question then. Do you think, because all those guys, everybody that we just named are champions, okay? Do you think that puts an extra pressure on Caitlin Clark because she's not a champion, but she still carries that burden and that weight?
Well, she's young in her career, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
What I mean? So by her being young in her career, that's why I think it's important for her to maintain that base and allow her to, develop into, what. I mean, all we can do is just wait and see, basically. But she's young in her career, and I think the way she's handling it is the way that other people who have been champions, we see them handle it the same way.
But
would y'all agree? I'm sorry, Clayton. Go ahead.
No, I just think Magic and Bird, they put pressure on themselves to win. It wasn't about no racial stuff. And with Caitlin, I'm gonna take her at her own words. She don't feel no pressure to grow the game or save the league. She just loves playing basketball. She might put pressure on herself to want to win a championship, but not to save no league.
I was about to ask you that. Do you think she put pressure on herself that she has to be a winner?
I think she's a gym rat, and I think that she do put a certain amount of pressure on her. Just like, just like somebody, all great athletes, I think, put pressure on themselves to win. But some things that go on within your fan base, you can't feed into that in order for you to stay focused. And so
I'm going to tell you, I don't, like I said, like you guys said, I don't think she puts pressure on herself to grow the league. I think the league puts pressure on her because of what she can accomplish for each and every game. Okay. Prime example, they put on TV. You know what I'm saying? So all those primetime games, what is it? What they got on 90% of the primetime?
They have 41 to their games going to be televised.
Yeah, that's the league trying to put pressure on her to take advantage of her situation and who she is. So that's the two different aspects of what's going on. And then you got the league, the players in the league. Some of them are excited about it. Then you got some haters on it, but that just hates the fact that this is going on.
Yeah, that's true.
So it all depends on if she can block out the noise and become the star that she wants to become, not what the league wants her to be.
And to be honest with you, man, I don't even think the league is putting pressure on her to grow it. I think the league is taking advantage of her popularity. Because at the same time, when they attach themselves to her, throwing her on TV, you got those same forces, GMs, whether it be GMs, commissioners, WNBA media, constantly trying to discredit her, saying she's not the reason we're growing. So I don't think they're putting pressure on her to grow. They're just using the shit out of her right now.
Yeah. Let me read this. My man Kent Carlson said that we Fever fans, that are the real deal. Sure, we Clarkies, I admit that, but I love all our girls. After all, they are Americans, and that's true. And so, to Kent Carlson's point, right now that the NBA is over with, I've been following this WNBA, man. You got the Valkyries, I like them. You have the Atlanta Dream. I like the way they look. Even the Mystics, you know what I mean? So yeah, man. I mean, they playing some good basketball. You know what I mean? And with like Clayton, like you said, the WNBA, in my opinion, is leaning into what Caitlin Clark is bringing to the table, right? And so we spoke of, you know what I mean? We've been speaking weeks on week, like she getting beat up, she getting pushed around, but still it's a lot of, you know what I mean? This is drawing some interest to the league, even though people say, well, don't let her get beat like this, or don't let her get, like take this abuse. Now, I'm not saying that she should take this abuse, but it's still drawing a lot of attention to the league, and it's drawing a lot of attention to other females in the league who can straight up ball.
Let me ask y'all this, man, because y'all more in tune to that WNBA than I am, right? So by me being like the lens I'm looking through, do you think like the WNBA is saying, well, we're going to do our best to make sure she's not being coddled and treated with kid gloves, and that might be going too far one way? Do y'all think that might be going on with that? Like, they don't want to come out and like we want to overly protect her, but because that might be the stance they're taking, she might be getting a lot of dirty fouls and things like that, and people going overboard with the flagrants and things like that. And the WNBA is not really punishing the other players because they don't want to be looked at that y'all trying to show favoritism to her. You know what I'm saying? I'm just asking.
Yeah.
It's hard to say, but I definitely know they want to dull her shine a little bit, because they've always had this statement since her rookie season. They come from Caitlin, but they fall in love with other players. And we saw this year that that's not necessarily the case, because when she's off the floor, the viewership dropped 50%. So I think they're turning a blind eye to it because they do want to dull her shine a little bit, because they don't want the league to be solely dependent on her for their growth. So they're trying to burn it in the psyche of the people. This narrative that the league is growing and people are falling in love with other players and stuff like that. So, but that could be a theory, what you're saying, Tom. It could be they don't want to show favoritism. Yeah.
Right. I was just asking, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
Well, you can tell by the All-Star voting that the WNBA fans, they love who they love. You know what I'm saying? They love who they love. The WNBA fans love their stars. And prime example is what's going on with Angel Reese and how she got stubbed off the All-Star team. You know what I'm saying? It's just all about, the productivity in the WNBA and how you are playing. So they're trying to, like you said, when you got Caitlin Clark, you got to make all the All-Stars around her. You know what I'm saying? It has to be a rivalry somewhere. You got to get that tension going. You got to want to make people want to watch the games other than Caitlin Clark playing it. You know what I'm saying? Because Caitlin Clark is only one person, and they got all these teams trying to come in and all this other stuff. So you got to make other superstars. That's where the WNBA lacks at. Their ability to get other superstars.
But this is what you can't make a superstar, and that's where they failing her, because eventually you're gonna let your meal ticket get hurt. These stars will emerge. I've been watching them now. I fell in love with Fee last year. I like different players. They will emerge, but don't let your meal ticket.
Let me ask you a question,
because you're trying to make sure other people shine. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, but let me ask you a question. They've been so bad at it. Why are we finally starting to talk about the WNBA now instead of talking about them 10 years ago?
Well, we understand why, but what I'm saying is you have other stars in there that's starting to sparkle.
But they have to market them. That's how the WNBA was failing. WNBA has always had stars. They have always had stars.
Well, let me say this about the WNBA, right? The WNBA, for the marketing, like when they first came on, they was hot with the the Houston Comets, right? Cynthia Cooper, Tina Thompson, Cheryl Swoops, right? the WNBA after that started putting their games like on the Lifetime channel, right? And so that Lifetime channel is, to me, it's just not a sports network. You're not like it just was, and it's a woman's channel, that Lifetime channel is. And so I think, do y'all think that could have hurt them too, as far as their growth and made them stand?
Yeah, absolutely, because their target audience was women.
Right.
When the WNBA first started, it was women.
And that was bad marketing.
Right,
That
bad
was
marketing.
terrible.
You're right, Clayton. That's
That
true.
was terrible.
That's because women don't even watch women.
Right. Listen, when
women
you play your games on the Lifetime network, Lifetime is a women-based network.
Yeah.
Okay. There's no men that could even tell you what station Lifetime was, because men doesn't watch it. What they did wrong is they believed if we put an all-women sports out there, that women will participate and watch and come to the games. Okay. They didn't understand what the NFL already knew. Okay. Once you get the men involved in it, have the men bring the women.
Yep.
Okay.
The women gonna follow. Yeah,
right. The women gonna follow it. That's where now men are interested in the WNBA now. Okay. So now when a dude goes to the WNBA game, tell like, look, I'm gonna watch some basketball. Now the woman can say, I can go with you now, because now I have something I can relate to with you.
That's right.
Okay. They just figuring that out. Okay.
Yeah.
Just figuring it out.
I'll say this
years later. Yeah.
Right.
I'll say this about them going on Lifetime. That might have been the only channel they could go to.
Right.
And I think the NBA let them down, because the NBA should have been pushing a lot harder with some of their TV partners to say, listen, this is our sister league. We're trying to help them out. Put them on a sports channel.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I thought that was poor marketing, right? And so
but
let me just say this. Retro hairstylist, what's this, 1983, welcome back to the channel. She says that
the Golden State Valkyries.
Yeah, the Valkyries.
Yes.
Man, I like the Valkyries.
They fun to watch.
They fun to watch. There's a lot of excitement around the Valkyries, right?
Yeah.
Also, Eastside said something too that I wanted to get into. Eastside always come up with some he always makes some great points, right? I was going to talk about this tomorrow, but we could do this today, right? All right. What do you think about Breonna Stewart and Fee Collier, the president and vice president of the WNBA Players Association? Is it a conflict of interest because they are owners of the other league, right?
Yes.
So the WNBA are talking about striking, possibly a strike, because they're not happy with what's going on in WNBA. If the WNBA do strike, that benefits the Unrivaled and Breonna. You know what I mean? The Unrivaled league. So yeah, I was like, yeah, that's that.
I didn't know.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you, for them to strike will be the worst thing possible for them to happen for both sides.
This is the one league that cannot afford the strike.
Right. Because because striking doesn't benefit neither side. Okay. And that's the problem with when people go on strike and everything, they go on strike to try to benefit themselves over somebody else. This doesn't benefit anybody, because if they don't get the people to come in, they can't pay the stars. The owners can't pay the stars. Let's just be realistic with it.
Quick question. Why? Because I'm not in tune with it. So what would be the reason they talking strike, though? Is it wages?
It's money. They want to do revenue sharing, okay? And the problem with revenue sharing for the WNBA is they haven't made a profit yet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You haven't made a profit. So you want to do all the revenue sharing and all this other stuff. And, revenue sharing is great, because then these smaller market teams can get these bigger contracts. Okay. Because now, every team shares in a big pot. Okay. So that means, other teams can get other players and small market teams. It benefits everybody in the long run. But just right now, the WNBA can't afford to strike. They got to work it out, because right now they are hot right now. And you don't want to do nothing to cool it down, especially since you just made the announcement on all your expansions. You know what I'm saying? Because the last thing they need is somebody like Juju to sit for 2-3 more years. You know what I'm saying? Or the next Juju or the next Caitlin Clark playing all 4 years in college because they can make $1 million a year in college and they go to WNBA and gonna only make $750. You know what I'm saying?
But they can't come out early though, man. But
I'm saying that, right.
Yeah,
but what I'm saying is
I
that may
understand
be
your
part.
point.
Yeah, that may be part of the negotiating process because them coming out early is a WNBA thing. You know what I'm saying? That's not, that's not a collegiate thing. That's a WNBA rule.
Right.
And then WNBA needs to strike now. They need to keep all their stars coming and keep this college rotation going. A strike to just kill it.
Going to what that go ahead, Clayton. Go ahead.
And the problem is not revenue share. The problem is they want a bigger revenue share because they have revenue sharing now. It's just a smaller number. But go ahead.
No, the thing I was about to ask, right? Do you all think they are attempting? Because I understand striking while the iron's hot. You know what I mean? This is probably the most popular it's been in years, right? They want to expand, but do you think they might be doing that a little too soon?
I think so. I think in good faith, you wanna wait until the business is profitable, in my opinion, before you ask for money. Like if you already have a job, right, and you know that like the company that you're working for is struggling, they're not even making money, but they continue to pay you despite the fact that they're not making money. So why would you choose them now for more money when they're not making money though?
Because it's different now. What they're doing now is they're not the teams that they're coming in now are not being subsidized by the NBA. They're getting what they call franchise people coming in. These million and billionaires coming in and buying franchises now. Okay. So for the league itself, it's all new money coming in because these people that want to buy these teams are paying league fees and all this other stuff to even buy a team in the league itself. So it's a plus for the WNBA now to do it now, because they're not taking away from revenue from anywhere else. They're actually gaining revenue from everywhere now. So the 4 new teams are supposed to come in the next, 3 years? 2 next year. And they're buying into it. So they may be paying the NBA like $4 to $5 million just to say, I have a franchise. You know what I'm saying? Not to do all the rest, just to say I'm in the WNBA now.
Yeah. So speaking of what you just said, man, right? We got, all right, so who's coming in? You got Cleveland coming. You got Cleveland coming in 2028. Detroit coming in 2029. Philadelphia, I don't know. That was at 2030.
Yeah.
All right. Philly coming in 2030, right? So what
is it? Is it like 15 teams? Is it like 12 teams in the next 10 years or something like that?
I think they're gonna get up to 18. I think.
Okay. Well, 18. Right, 18.
With these additions, it'll be 18 teams with these additions.
All right, let me see.
Golden State Valkyries. 18 more. I thought it was like 18 more. I was like,
oh no, yeah. So I think that so the league is growing, and I'm telling you, you gotta start watching these games, man. The Valkyries. I mean, it's just, I think it's a good brand of basketball. Personally, I think it's a good brand of basketball. What my man Kent Carlson said, let me see, Dave, personally, it won't affect Caitlin Clark in any way. She could walk away and make more money at somewhere else, I guess. Let me see. I can't really. She doesn't. And by the way, her foundation done more than any of the others, right? And so I guess Kent is speaking to the fact that because somebody did say that Caitlin Clark could possibly walk away from the WNBA and start her own league, right?
Well, now go overseas.
But it would affect her.
That's what I thought he was going, like talking about, like going overseas or whatever. That's what
but it would affect her though. It would affect her because she loves this. This was her dream. So now her dream is getting cut short. She didn't want to play overseas. She dreamed of being in the WNBA. If something happens to that league, it definitely would affect her.
I might be reading it wrong. He may have meant that. I might be reading it wrong. So I apologize if I'm reading it wrong, right? Yeah, let me see. Let me see what I got. Plus, I got a question for y'all too, right? After I read it, my man Tom says, can I keep telling people that if the WNBA go on strike, Caitlin Clark is going to be fined, and Angel Reese and any other haters that are going to have the problem. I just think, like I said earlier, I just think that if this not a good time to go on strike, no matter how you feel about like the the money situation. It's, in my opinion, even with the ownership, the new ownership's buying in. That's only 4 teams in a league that's with about 18 teams. So you have 4 teams that could possibly fund themselves, or a handful.
Golden State is funding themselves. They bought in too.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So is Vegas. Vegas is funding themselves too.
Yeah.
It says something about the business of the WNBA that you have these owners coming in that's independent of the NBA, and like you say, buying in. Them guys ain't in the business of losing money, so they must be something. Whereas though, if I buy a team in the WNBA, I can turn a profit.
I agree.
Well, they see it. I'm gonna tell you what they see. They see I buy in for $2 million and I sell for $10 billion. Okay, that's what they're seeing. They're seeing the upcharge. I mean, the up examples of other leagues and the buy-ins and the returns when they sell. You know what I'm saying? And every league right now, if you buy a franchise team in any of these leagues right now, you're tripling your money sometimes. I mean, prime example is, look at the Lakers. He bought in for what, 67 million? And now he's selling what, 30 years later for 10 billion?
10 billion.
Yeah, I mean, that's a return you can't find nowhere else.
He had the team longer than that. But they the Lakers too, though. You know what I'm saying? They the Lakers too.
Right. I mean, but I'm just giving an example. That's what everybody's seeing. They're seeing like, if I can buy in cheap and sell out high, it's a win-win. You know what I'm saying?
Money buying no professional franchise. You ain't really losing no money. Yeah, they can say what they want. You really ain't gonna lose no money. You know what I'm saying?
Well, let's not be so. Hey, the WNBA has failed and lost some franchise. Now let's talk about Houston.
Yeah, but that wasn't like that was. The NBA was making those calls though. The NBA was making it wasn't like an independent owner. You know what I'm saying? It might have been an independent owner, but they was only putting up a little bit of the pie. The NBA was, and then the NBA would come and say, "Look, it's not turning this. We're going to fold. We're going to move." You know what I mean? I remember a couple teams moving. I think they had a WNBA team in Detroit at one time. I think that team moved 2 or 3 times. So, I think the NBA was suggesting.
But look at what the NBA does. The NBA has franchise owners that gone out of business. You know what I'm saying? People sell teams all the time. Because, what we see on the outside is not particularly what everybody sees on the inside.
Yeah, that's true.
The NBA don't move like that. The
NBA does. Look how many franchises in the NBA moved. The prime example, look at OKC. They used to be Seattle.
Yeah, I remember Seattle. I remember
look at Golden State. Look at Golden State. They used to play in Oakland. They moved to San Francisco.
No, that's just moving cities. I'm talking about like moving in a whole different, like you like Vancouver. Now they Memphis. I'm talking about something like that.
Well, it's the same thing. Just Golden State never changed their name, but they changed franchise and cities. They changed owners and then they changed the city.
But they still in the same state, though. I think that's the point I'm making. They still in the same state. I mean, they moved from Baltimore to the law. You know what I'm saying?
Let me get you some comments, right? JS says that Caitlin could help out Cheryl Miller, who will open up an upshot league in 2026, right? Yeah, I mean, I think that they could possibly do something like that. Start their own league.
Why I'm telling you, leagues against the WNBA.
Because everybody doesn't have the confidence that the WNBA is going to be able to rise above their talent that they're getting right now. That's all it is. They don't believe in the WNBA management.
I'll tell you what, though. These young players are pushing it forward. And this is what I mean. The rookies
and that's where these veterans are like, yo, with these young cats coming up right now, we have talent above talent. There's just no way in the world that we shouldn't be able to start our league and we can make it right.
But the coaches are getting the gumption to sit these veterans now. They are letting rookies play all around the league, and it's changing the dynamic of the league.
It wasn't like that at first.
It wasn't. It didn't used to be that way. And this is what I mean by something organically happen. You have to let the natural process take place. These young girls in the league now, the league is, oh my God, it's going crazy.
That's why I'm saying and on these teams that looking good.
Yep.
The Mystics, I don't know. I forgot this young lady on the Mystics, but she mean, Jack.
Kiki, Sonia Citron, Kiki, and the girl Sykes and all of them. They have a great team. And anybody can beat anybody on any given night. The Wings just beat the Mercury and get without a recap. Mm-hmm. It's all about letting the young people play. Indiana starting to see them come together. You know why? They bringing in, they letting Timpson play. They bring in other, you know what I'm saying? DeWanna left. Listen, the youth is taking over the WNBA, and it's a whole new league.
Isn't Caitlin Clark hurt right now? Is she hurt right now?
She's hurt. Yeah, she's hurt. Yeah.
But look, time makes another good point, right? Caitlin Clark is the money, Irvin. Does Caitlin Clark, Kobe Bryant sneakers, sold out, my friend. Asia Wilson, and let me see, a head start. Let me see. Oh, Asia Wilson had a head start, and Caitlin, let me see. Hey, let me say this. Let me say this about Caitlin Clark and them merging her brand with those with the Mamba, right? I thought, in my opinion, y'all let me know what y'all think. I thought that was a great marketing strategy to merge that Caitlin Clark, and the reason why I think so, that gives you that Caitlin Clark that crossover appeal, right? She got her own fan base, and her shoes was going to sell regardless. But when I post those shoes and I said that they was Mambas, the first thing all the dudes was like, "Oh, I wear those."
Right. That's what I'm about to say. The dudes can wear them because they cold.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I wear those, and so not to to bash any other female that has a signature shoe, but I thought that Nike put Caitlin Clark in a position where as though she was going to win either way, but this right here to merge those two brands, I thought was major.
Didn't they do the same with Sabrina?
And that's
they gave her a prototype shoe of Kobe's as well.
They did.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I'm not
sure. I know Sabrina do. I think you're right. Come to think,
you know, what's the name was wearing them in school, so it could have started then. It could have started then because Cece was wearing them in school. Yeah.
But don't be clear. But Caitlin's signature shoe is coming next spring. Yeah, that was a good tester. But I think we all know. We all know her merch gonna fly. We know that.
Yeah, I mean, but it's just like starting you out with training wheels. You know what I mean? And then
Yep.
Yeah. So because if dudes buy the shoes now, it's not like when she come out with her signature shoe, they not gonna say then. They're like, nah, we not ain't gonna buy those. You know what I mean? But once she on the mat, she on the mat.
Yeah, I mean the Nike marketing. That's what I'm talking about. Marketing. You got to be able to market. They put that Mamba symbol on that Caitlin Clark shoe. Great marketing strategy, and they knew it. We got somebody in Nike saying like, "Yo, these Caitlin Clark's going to sell to the women. How can we get the guys to buy?" That's how you do it. You either put Jordan or Mamba on the side of it, and then the Mamba is like, "Oh, okay, here we go."
And it was a no-brainer because that was her favorite shoe. So it wasn't like they came up with this grand marketing scheme.
Right.
In the meantime, what's your favorite shoe? The Kobe's. So they made a prototype in her image and in her team colors.
Yeah. Sometimes the simplest thing is the best thing.
It's the best thing.
Absolutely. Just make it simple and sweet.
Absolutely.
Like retro hairstylist says, 13,000 pairs sold out in 10 minutes.
I ain't know that.
Hey, it ain't sold out 10 minutes. I ain't even get a chance to go. I may as well. I ain't get a chance to go to the store.
You drive to the store.
Yeah, by the time
10 minutes.
Wow,
that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, but look, I got a question for you fellas. I got, Kent Carlson, retro hairstylist, the truth, East Side. I want y'all opinion on this, right? Independent media. I want your opinion also. Now, what if Don Staley, because the Knicks did show some interest, or at least they act like they show some interest in Don Staley, right? What if Don Staley had got that job in New York? Do you think that she would have been able to be an effective coach, being a female with the Knicks?
I'm gonna tell you this, in my opinion, no. Because I'm gonna tell you why. If she doesn't make it to the promised land, it would have been all types of women can't do this, women can't do that, and that's set up for the Knicks. Okay, I think she will be a good coach somewhere other than the Knicks because the expectations of the Knicks right now are so high for anybody, male or female. You know what I'm saying? If she would have went to somebody like Washington or something like that, I think that would be a great stepping stone and to see her build the situation up. But going to the Knicks, that reality at the Knicks right now is either you're going to win or you're going to lose in the NBA Finals. That's the two elements of the Knicks right now. Either you're going to win it all or you're going to lose in the conference finals. So, and if she doesn't come anywhere close to that, it's going to be considered a failure. And then the first thing they're going to talk about, it was a bad hire because she's a woman. That's what's going to come out of everybody's mouth. And that's not the situation that the NBA needs, the Knicks need, or Staley needs. It's not worth it.
But do you think she could have been an effective coach?
I do. I think she could have been an effective
she could have been
coach.
successful.
That's what I'm saying. Success on the Knicks will be different than success somewhere like the Wizards.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So the success is different on each team. You know what I'm saying? The Wizards.
She would not have she would not have been able to do what something like what Tom Thibodeau did, like with that same team, get them into the as far in the playoffs as Tom Thibodeau did. She wouldn't be able to do that.
I just think it would have been a setup. Like I said, if she goes to some ways like the Wizards and the Wizards are 500 or 3 games above 500 at the end of the year, she can sit there and say, like, look, I made a change, a cultural change in the Wizards. Now we understand how to win. Now we got to get the product to win. You know what I'm saying? She goes to the Knicks. She goes to Indiana. She goes to any of these teams that are already set to win and the expectations are to win, and she doesn't. It's going to be the first thing. She wasn't qualified. She's a woman, and she shouldn't have been there. And that's how they're going to categorize that.
Good point. Like she was in over her head or something like that.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. They're not going to give her a chance and look at her coaching skills. They're not going to do that.
But to be honest, I don't think the Knicks ever had any interest in her. I mean, I think it was all publicity.
Yeah.
That dude Dolan up there, man. I just think it was all just a stunt. Because it's coming around that they shouldn't have fired Thibodeau without
playing.
And then everybody was turning them down. They was asking for permission to speak to other coaches who was under contract. The other franchise was like, no. So, then they're gonna put out the Don Staley thing. Just I never believed that they had any interest on hiring him.
It reminded me of the Rooney Rule, Tom.
Yeah,
they were just interviewing it for the sake of we're not discriminating against anybody.
Right. And that's all it is. But I'm gonna tell you one thing, man. Hey, if I'm a dying franchise, man, hey, I'm looking at them. Just to see if I can get some more seats and some more asses in the seat in my building.
Say like the one cat that's all near and dear to us, Sam Cassell, right?
Yes.
He's not coming up on more teams' radars. And he's been an assistant coach, I don't know for how many years, but I know it's been a few.
Oh, hey, hold on 2 championship teams.
Yeah, he's not coming up on anybody's radar, man, as far as, any coaching searches and things like that, man. I think that's unfortunate, man. I think that's unfortunate.
And Magic named him on First Take. The Knicks need to bring Sam in. He named him. Yeah. Didn't they hire Mike Brown?
Yeah, Mike Brown, I don't get it, Clint. I think he should. He deserves a shot. He deserves a shot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Let me see. Welcome to the chat, Edward Rooker. Edward Rooker said Kobe White signed off on the shoes and immediately backed up the new shoes. She confirmed this on social media. I appreciate that, Ed. Yeah, man. I just think that I like the shoes. Let me see what Eastside say here. Eastside said, I don't think Tibbs should have been fired at all. And I'm not even a Tibbs fan, and I don't think that was a that was a good move.
Right.
I don't think that was a good move.
Back-to-back Eastern Conference Finals, man. You went to back-to-back Eastern Conference Finals. You don't get fired because of that, man. I mean, if y'all got creative differences, so what? Everybody ain't got to get along. I never understood that narrative. Like everybody got to be friends and kumbaya to work with one another. We all, had jobs at one time or another. We ain't never get along with everybody we work with.
You ain't had no choice but to stay there. You want your lights to stay on.
That's right. That's right. So,
I'm crazy, man. I was just really surprised they didn't have a backup because I remember the Bulls pushed Detroit. They went to the conference final. They pushed Detroit to 7 games. And then they let Doug Collins go for Phil Jackson. They had a replacement there. Like they had something there. I'm just shocked they didn't have anything,
He was already on the bench too.
Right, he was there. Yeah. Right.
The Knicks, they make I think it was a knee-jerk reaction to that, man. Yeah. And they go out. Now you're looking at this coach, that, and then you got the franchise like, no, you can't talk to my coach. No, he under contract. You can't talk to him. They did that like 2 or 3 times. Now they got egg on their face. You done fired this guy. Now you don't even have a replacement.
But this is what I heard the whole time. They was courting Larry Brown.
Oh, yeah.
And Larry Brown turned him down.
And that's not even hard to believe. You understand? Larry Brown, man, been retired for a few years. Man, he probably enjoying retirement right now.
Well, hey, how can Larry Brown?
Go ahead.
How can Larry Brown be getting courted? And when like my man Tom says, right? Let me see. Like I said, I will go to my grave saying it. Mark Jackson is built for that New York team. That coaching job and the powers that be to be played in New York. I mean, in ESPN and others create the narrative about Mark Jackson, right?
Yep.
So I think Mark Jackson, like Tom said, will be a great fit for that New York team, that New York organization. I think Mark Jackson will work well with Brunson. I just think he's a great fit for that team. I think him and Brunson, I think he could take, even though Brunson is an outstanding ball player, I think he could take his game to a whole nother level.
Yep. You talk about being blackballed. I don't know what. I know he had his stance he took, but man, come on, is it really that serious? Was that bad?
That lets you know that regardless of who or what we think these leagues are, the owners at the top still runs what they want to do. You know what I'm saying? Because like you said, there's no reason why Mark Jackson and Sam Cassell should not be head coaches in the NBA right now. Somewhere these sucky teams need to start off with good coaching foundations first instead of trying to bring superstars in and just failing completely. But yet we have these 2 gentlemen sitting back, not being courted. I mean, not being consistently recruited because of what?
That's the thing. You don't even hear their name come up for an interview or anything.
Because it's still regardless of what we think, it's still a good old boys club. And once you get on that list, you're not getting off of it.
Ain't no question.
You're not getting off of it. And you know how that's going to change is when new ownership comes in with the I don't give a fuck attitude about the league and stuff. I just care about making my team and my city and my fans the best that I can put out there. And if it's taking Sam Cassell or Mark Jackson to come in and be my coach to make my team the best, fuck y'all. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring them in.
A new owner still has to get voted on. It don't matter how much bread you got. You know
definitely.
All 4 of us could be billionaires, and we want to buy.
And the crazy part is,
they gotta get voted in. You know what I'm saying?
We found that out the hard way because Black people were so happy when we found out that Jay-Z was a part of the Brooklyn team that came in and buying it. And then when they found out and read the real thing that Jay-Z owned 0.1 or 0.1% of the team, then we were like, oh, damn.
Yep.
So, it's to still have that good old boy mentality, that good old boy feel, because they just won't let it happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Magic. Magic has been trying to get a team for so long. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they let Jordan in because his name is Jordan.
But Magic got, you know, he like minority owners of like 5 or 6 different franchises.
The minority.
Yeah.
Yep.
The minority
Yep.
owner of 5 or 6 different
Yep.
But if you notice, none of them are NBA teams.
Yeah. Well,
he was with the Lakers till they just sold. He
Yeah.
was still with the Lakers.
Yeah, he's with the
and
Lakers.
basically what
No,
that means,
but he wasn't a minority. He wasn't a minority owner of the Lakers.
Yeah, he was.
I think he
Yeah,
had a
he was.
piece of the Lakers. Yeah, he
At
did.
two different times he did.
Right.
Yeah.
But Jimmy
different
Butler,
times he was-
he still had
Yeah,
that.
Jerry
No,
Buss
he
took
was-
care of Magic. Jerry Buss took care of Magic.
Right, but he was running Lakers. He wasn't a minority owner though.
I think he had a piece. He had a piece.
He had like 2 or 3%. He ain't have a big percentage. but
Not
yeah.
nothing big. Yeah. And he got
he has what we call the JC percentage.
Yeah, but he, like I said, he got that. He with the Redskins. He with the Dodgers. You know,
Well, yeah, I know he with the Redskins and the Dodgers. Yeah, I know about them too.
He got them percentages in 7, 8 different.
Yeah, he has a large percentage of the Redskins.
Yeah, he got a soccer team overseas or something. He got.
Yeah. I like to see the percentage he got in the Redskins. I'm not sure.
I think it's like 22% or something like that.
No, I don't think it's that heavy. I don't think it's that
Hold
heavy.
on, let me find out.
Yeah.
I don't know very much.
In the meantime, though, I think Ed Rooker asks a great question, right?
Mm-hmm.
He brings up another a great question. How can Carolyn Peck be allowed to say on ESPN that the Fever are way better without Caitlin Clark and not have her delusional credentials stripped from society?
I didn't know she said that.
Yes. Well, I had to quote. She did say that the Fever are more dangerous without Caitlin Clark. Now, before y'all respond, let me just say this. They did win some games without Caitlin Clark, but the games they won, like Caitlin Clark beat, like who they beat? They beat some good teams when Caitlin Clark was there. Teams that were above 500, teams that, you know, like if you like, they would make the playoffs. Not to take anything away from the victories they got without Caitlin Clark, but I think it was a difference in the level of competition. I don't know if y'all think that's fair or not, though. What y'all think?
What you mean? There's a difference in the competition. What do you mean?
All the teams were not like above 500. The teams that they beat without her. Well, most of the teams that they beat.
Well, they just beat the Minnesota Lynx, #1 team in the league.
That was the only one, though. Other than that,
no. And then they just the Aces wasn't above 500. You're right. They was just 500. Yeah, I agree. I mean, as far as her credentials getting stripped, I don't know what goes all into that. I don't think she said anything to strip her credentials. She just shared her opinion on the subject and what she thought. But it is delusional. You talk about a team that averaged 10 more points a game when she's on the floor than they don't. They beat the Storm, who was riding high. They beat the Liberty, who was riding high. You know, it's just ridiculous. I just think what's happening is they growing more and more. They're getting used to each other. They learn how to play. And I'm going to say this. I think it took Natasha Howard some time to get used to that big light, big magnifying glass. Kelsey Mitchell is coming into her. She got her confidence. Aaliyah Boston is playing out of this world. And I just think, you know, that they're going to be even more dangerous when she comes back, because now with Ari McDonald, you got a young lady that can push pace. You're going to see a lot of pressure get took off Caitlin. She's going to get a lot more space to operate and a lot more open shots. So that's just her opinion. You know, I don't have no problem with that woman's opinion, but it is delusional in my opinion. Like, they beat some great teams. You know what I'm saying? They beat New York Liberty. They should have beat New York Liberty twice. You know what I'm saying? So come on, man. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Yeah, that's ridiculous. And then you beat up on the wings.
Yeah,
you know.
I agree though. I just think, just like Kent Carlson said, you know, it's going to be a lot of people say a lot of different things. She entitled to her opinion, just like you said. You know, I ain't really paying no attention to it. You know what I mean? I just seen some people making some comments about it though. But
I'll say this though: the way they gelling right now, and then when you get her back, you know, once they all get used to playing with each other, watch out for them on the second half of the season. If she comes back, even if she don't come back, this girl Ari McDonald, man, she playing for her life.
Yeah.
He's getting a second chance to be in the league, and she's leaving it all out there on the floor.
Yeah.
Yep. And Stephanie White, I give her credit. She finally putting a young girl, Timpson, in the game. Her defense is serious. She's going with different rotations. So, yeah, they starting to buy in, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Let me see. Jim said, "Hey guys, talk with you dudes next week." Jim, enjoy your holiday weekend.
Happy holiday, man.
Yeah, happy holidays.
All right, Jim, have a good one.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think that well, let me ask y'all this, right? Back to the Don Stanley.
Yeah.
Do y'all think that like a female coach or a woman coach, like, do y'all think that like men will buy into her any female coach? Do y'all think they will buy into her programs? You know, like you gotta buy into the program if the team wants to be successful, right? So can a female coach from that perspective, would she be able to lead men?
I'm gonna tell you this. It all depends on the backing that she has when she makes her decisions. You know what I'm saying? If the owners stand behind her 100% in what she says and what she does, then yes, she could actually coach men's basketball. But it all takes about what the owners how far the owners are gonna stand behind her. Just like owners, if owners stand behind coaches with superstar athletes, then it's a different outlook. But a lot of times the owners go with the athlete and get rid of the coach.
Because you know players going up them backstairs to their owner's office saying, "Look, man, she got us going X, Y, Z," and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know that's
exactly.
Yeah.
I thought Becky Hammond had a great shot at doing it because Pop co-signed her.
Me too.
Right.
I thought she would be the first. I really did. I thought she'd be coaching in the summer league. Yeah, I thought she would be the first.
I agree with you. I thought Becky Hammond was a shoe-in, right?
Yeah.
And I think I like her demeanor. You know what I mean? Like her demeanor when you watched her when she was with the Spurs, it's pretty much the same as it is with with the Aces, as far as like how she handled a team and stuff like that. So yeah, I thought that Becky Hammond was
I think it's going to start with the reversal in college first. I think there's going to have to be a woman that takes over a top 10 program in college first and keep them where they are, huh? Yeah, men's
on
college
the men's side.
On the men's side. I think that's where it's going to transition first.
To the WNBA, I think maybe she was told or she felt like she needed to be in that, number one seat as a head coach before she could get the job in the NBA. So I think that's why she, because she was coaching San Antonio in the summer league, right?
Mm-hmm.
She still went and took that head coaching job in the WNBA. I think, maybe some people got in her ear and said, man, you need to be in that chair for a certain amount of seasons before you get brought over to the NBA. I think
and then Indiana got a woman on their bench that's very much an integral part in coaching that team.
Yeah.
The young lady for the Pacers.
Well, Christy Tolliver, she was with the Wizards for for a little bit. So I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. It's the ceiling's going to have to come from college. College changes the pros. All right, they do it in the college first to see if it happens. There's going to have to be a woman that's going to have to break into college men's basketball.
The NBA ain't too innovative.
Right.
Yeah, it ain't.
It's going to have to be that way.
Right.
Somebody's going to have to show and prove. Take a program that's really not that's known for winning, but really not winning at the point in time. Change it around. Somebody like a woman's going to have to coach like North Carolina. Change them around, make them national champions, and then that's when they start taking that real hard look.
She would have to do that much though, man. If she just took like a mid-major and turned them into somebody that made the Sweet 16 couple years, stuff like that, then they get looked at. Yeah.
Because if you look at women's college basketball, you got men coaching the women all throughout college basketball.
Look
what I'm saying?
You got the Knicks. We just talked about this. Look at the Knicks. Instead of giving somebody like a Mark Jackson, like a Sam Cassell, they want to go back and get Larry Brown out of retirement. You know what I mean? And Larry Brown
just the same as they left. But Larry Brown was probably the exact same type of coach.
They want to recycle the same people.
And they interviewed Don Staley and didn't interview Sam or Mark.
Yeah.
Nothing against Don Staley. That's interesting to me.
Right, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do y'all think it's a double? What do y'all think about that double standard though? Like guys like Gino Auriemma can coach women, you know what I mean, at UConn, but you can't have, you know what I mean, like the women can't coach the men.
Well, see, because that's the difference in between men's sport and women's sport. Women's sports wants the best available. Okay. Men's sports wants the best that I can get without suffering. You know what I'm saying? Without negating my fans or something like that. Women's basketball, women's sports in general don't care. They want the best. They're coaches in softball. A lot of women, a lot of men. You know what I'm saying? But because they want the best that's available. The pros and the men's side of sports don't look at it that way. That's why you see so much cycle going on.
What you just say, man? That's Old Boy Network. What you just said not too long ago, and that's like a big part of it.
And let's be realistic. These owners, you know, they got that stigma. They do not want to trust their franchise with a woman, thinking that grown men is going to listen to a woman. It's still that stigma that these guys she won't be able to discipline them. She won't keep them under control and things of this nature. So, you know, realistically speaking, I think that's a major part of it.
Would they get on her program? Like Mike was saying, like, would they get on her program?
And that's why whoever comes in the league is going to have 100% backing of the owners. You know what I'm saying?
They have to put together a great staff. They're going to have a great staff.
Yeah, whatever she puts into place, it has to be etched in stone. It can't be, well, she got us running 3 times a day in practice. Why am I doing that? Well, if I'm the owner, you're doing it because she's the coach.
Let me ask this, right? If you get a Dawn Staley, that might be a bad example because Dawn Staley, you know what I mean, she's established. But if you get a woman head coach to coach that Knicks team, do you want your staff to be former head coaches in the NBA? You know what I'm saying? Because and I ask that because if you got a staff and you fill out your staff and you got 3 or 4 former NBA coaches, you might think, well, damn, one of them, we run into a losing streak or whatever, can take my job. You know what I'm saying? It's a balance. You know what I'm saying?
That's why most coaches in the league hire their own staff. You know what I'm saying? There's not too many coaches that come on and be like, all right, I'm a coach, and let the owner hire the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. No, because they know situations like that will happen. I'm a prime example of it. The Cowboys do it all the time. You know what I'm saying? Jerry Jones will hire the coach, the offensive coordinator, and keep it going down the boards. And the coach is like, well, damn, I got to work with him because he hired him.
Right.
But I don't think that's a proper way of coaching. And if a woman comes into that, I think she just needs to turn it down. Because to me, that would be a stepping stone of it. Once you fail, not if you fail, but once you fail, this is what the rebound is going to be. You know what I'm saying? If I'm a woman and I'm going into a man's league, I want to hire the person I want to hire. Now, that person may be a better coach than me, but that's what, you know, kings do. Kings put people around them that know more than they do. You know what I'm saying? Because a coach is not going to know everything, but he put the people around him that knows what he doesn't to make them better. So I don't see any owners giving a woman that type of situation.
Yeah. All right, let me Kent Carlson, appreciate you. Thanks for the super chat again. Kent says, just an observation of the way that CC reacted when White got TD and her reaction, I think more behind the scenes than meets the eye when CC returns, right? So what do y'all think about that?
Is he talking about when Steph White got a technical?
Yeah, when she got TO, yeah.
I mean,
what was her reaction, Clayton? I ain't see it.
She was happy about that shit. She dapped coach up, you know. She dapped coach up, like, where to get that technical. She likes shit like that. She's fiery, but
I think that goes towards them like building that camaraderie, that trust. You know what I mean? everything that they going through right now at the Fever, I just think this situation, like I said early, it's just going to make them a tougher, more cohesive team, especially if you can keep Kelsey Mitchell, and you can keep, their big three, that core, that the team that's going to be like having Larry Bird, Robert Parrish, and
Kevin McHale.
McHale. You know what I mean? It's just going to make them stronger.
And like you said, you want to know that the coach gonna ride for you too.
Yeah, and she like that. And I think the best thing that's happening to them now is these players are finding their legs. So now when you get Caitlin back, she's not apprehensive. She trusts you. Now when you get these open looks, they knocking them down. Teams ain't gonna just be able to just constantly blitz her because everybody on that floor can score. And they get their confidence.
And it means that Caitlin Clark doesn't have to play so many minutes anymore.
Yeah,
that's the key to it. She doesn't have to play that many minutes now.
Yep.
To stay in the game, to stay ahead of the game. She doesn't have to do as much anymore. That keeps her fresh.
Well, and so what a retro hairstylist said, I think personally that White like CC on the bench, right? And I think that to a certain extent she was able to mess around with some different lineups. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So when Caitlin Clark do get back, right, and she understands and she know that that's the focal part of her team, that she know what everybody else can do, and then she'll be able to call on them. And so that's
a good thing. Like you said, you can mess with the lineups and see what works, people does it defensively and things like that. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. You see that? Jim say.
Yeah, like the Black Horse. Yeah, my man. Appreciate it, Viking Jim.
Yeah. Wow, hey, Jim, you don't see the chandelier in back of me, man? You don't like my chandelier, Jim? Come on, Jim. That's foul, Jim. I'm gonna get a cowboy chandelier, Jim, just for you, all right?
So, retro hairstylist said that Stephanie likes that slow ball, right? And I personally think it's a benefit. Yeah, it's a benefit, in my opinion, to being able to play the slow ball and to run. You know what I mean? Even when you seen Magic Johnson and the Showtime Lakers back in the day, they had Kareem that could operate in that half court when Boston slowed them down. You know what I mean? You got to be able to get a basket. So that's where the trust and the chemistry is going to come from. And it's going to be some give and take from Caitlin Clark. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think Stephanie White is trying to stop Caitlin from running because you don't want to do that.
Right.
But you know what I mean? You do want her to learn how to be effective in more than just one way.
That's right.
So, that's where that, you know what I mean?
I mean, let's look at it this way. It's all professional. So somewhere down the line, you're going to meet somebody that's going to make you slow it down.
No question.
You're going to meet somebody that's going to play defense, is going to make you slow it down and make that half-court game come alive. Especially if they've been coached well. They see that you like to run, so they're going to put that defense in there that's going to make you slow down. So if you can transition both ways, you're good.
If she pay close attention, the Fever are not playing slow with Ari McDonald. They pushing pace.
Oh yeah, I like.
They really pushing pace.
They not, well, at times I think that they not. Ari McDonald he get up and down.
So when CC is in there, they more up tempo. They more up tempo when she's in the game.
Well, it's a misnomer because Caitlin pushed them go ahead passes and she likes to run, but she also is very effective in the half court set because she draws so much attention. She thread the needle. She keep cutting back doors. So I think it's a lot made of that. A lot to do about nothing. It's not all the time run with Caitlin in the game, but she does like to push pace and get ahead, read and react, that kind of thing. But
rather play fast. She rather
play fast. Yeah.
But all right, I just like, all right. So what retro hairstylist says that and I want to address this too, right? But they don't double team any other player in the league but Caitlin Clark. All right. So the thing is about that, the amount that they full court press her, the amount that they double team her, I think that once Caitlin Clark, sure enough, start making people pay for that. If you, like in the NBA, you're not going to press nobody full court because we getting layups, you know what I mean? They're getting layups down the other end. And so once she start making them consistently, she make them pay for it sometime. You know, she gonna bring them out of that. She gonna bring them out of that.
Well, the reason that works sometimes is not because Caitlin got to make them pay. It's because her players was missing open shots. And now they're gaining their confidence.
Right.
So you can keep doing that for her. That's why they beat Seattle down the stretch. Because they even Skylar Dickens said it. When we spending so much time focusing on one player, other guys are open. And they all pros. They was hitting shots. So the more you focus on her, now that those players got their legs and their confidence, especially Natasha Howard, they're going to make you pay. So eventually you're going to back up off that.
Right, exactly. My point, exactly. Yeah. And so that's, and it's not all on Caitlin Clark.
No, it's a team thing.
Yeah, it's not all on Caitlin Clark. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, they definitely make you, as a team, they're going to make them pay for that. And you want teams to, you know what I mean? That's easy best. That's like, that's another fast break.
Yes.
You know, she take the ball out, they score, she take the ball out, give it to Caitlin. It's just like starting another fast break.
So that's the thing. I'm interested in see, because if that's your approach and this is what you're going to go with, you started seeing it happening in the Seattle game. You've seen it happen a little bit in that first Vegas game. So even Becky Hammond said at halftime, they were putting so much emphasis on her. She was just slicing them up with the passing. And they went up double-digit lead on the Vegas, So, yeah.
Hey, Tom. Now I got a quick question for you, Tom. Let me ask you about what do you think about the situation with the Milwaukee Bucks and Dame Lillard?
Man, I'm gonna tell you, I was surprised about that whole move. Dame is getting a little old. I think Dame 34, 35, somewhere in there. And that Achilles, man, probably going to keep him out, if not all the next year, the majority of it. Them cutting ties with him, I think that's them admitting that experiment didn't work. I think that I think they admitted that experiment didn't work.
Yeah.
I think if they had to do it all over again, they wouldn't pull the trigger on that. And like you said, he out there free now, but he hurt. He a little older, coming off injury. And then them signing Miles Turner. That's going. Clayton had mentioned it early. I really want to see how him and Giannis going to play together. They'd be formidable defensively. So athletic front line, but offensively, Miles, he stayed a little bit too far away from that basket. You know what I mean? But like I was saying earlier, that's how every big man is now. You know what I'm saying? That's how every big man is now.
I don't appreciate that either. He'd be too far away from that basket.
But man, it's going to be interesting to see it. Just still don't let him off the hook. If Giannis going to demand a trade, and I know Giannis got I think 3 more years on this deal, but
didn't they just sign Giannis' brother though?
I don't know.
I think he 5 years, $10 million, I think.
For real? I ain't see it.
So they trying to keep him. They doing everything in their power to keep Giannis.
Right. Yeah, so they keep his brother. Like, look, man, we gave your brother a raise. He ain't making minimum wage no more. We gave him some money. You should be mad at us no more. You know what I mean? We gave him a couple more dollars, man. But I don't know, man. The move was, I thought, for Giannis was to Houston. But since Houston got KD, you know what I mean? I don't think, you know what I'm saying, what's the name, want to do business with nobody else. Milwaukee.
I like KD mixed with those young horses over there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they going now. That's a perfect example of a young team that can get up and down. And then when they go to the half court, then KD can operate.
You get a bucket.
They're gonna operate. You know what I mean? With that mid range or that 3-pointer, and KD can get to the rim too for a guy that's.
Yeah,
I like that what he gonna bring to that young Houston team. And then you got what's Emil Doka, the coach, right?
Yep.
You know what I mean? I like that. I like that mix.
And I thought for them to get anybody, Giannis or KD, I thought they had to give up Şengün, but they didn't have to give him up.
I like the fact they kept Şengün.
Yeah, right. They had to give him up. Right. So yeah, man, you're right. And then when they play half court, KD can get you. That's a certified bucket. You know what I'm saying? Certified bucket.
That keep the pressure on that. You know what I mean? That keep the pressure on your opponent.
Right.
You know, if y'all ain't got no easy bucket on no fast break, KD
Right.
can come down, you know what I mean? He can solidify that for you. He got that for you.
Right.
So yeah,
And
that's
Jalen
what's up with
Green,
that.
you know, he went out to Phoenix in the trade, but Phoenix supposed to be saying they not looking to move him. I think it's all talk. So they say, no, we're not gonna move him, you know what I mean? Whatever. But they gonna have him, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal out there. I mean,
well, they still trying to move Bradley Beal, so
yeah, but Bradley got to sign off on it. You know, he got to.
Man. Hey, Bradley, what you say? Bradley a squatter, right? He ain't he a squatter. Once Bradley, you leave that door open, Bradley gonna come in there, man, and start. Bradley ain't going nowhere.
Like Clayton said, man, a few weeks ago, you're like, man, how you get a deal like that? But you like the Wizards had to give him something, you know what I mean, to make him want to stay. So you know what I mean.
Yeah,
so they had to give him like a no trade or something like that.
Listen, I understand the Wizards doing it. I don't understand Phoenix doing it.
No,
that's the part I don't understand. Huh?
It's the same contract. Yeah,
so right, that's what I'm saying. I don't understand why Phoenix signed off on that. That's what I'm trying to understand. I don't understand why you got Devin Booker and you got KD and you signed off on that crazy contract.
Yeah. They thought he was gonna ball out though, man.
Yeah, that's what
went on vacation. He was like, man, it's nice and warm over here.
Yo, did he even show up? Did he even show up 3 games last year?
Like you say, he out there in warm sun. He getting paid 40-something plus $1 million a year. You know.
Yeah.
I thought they was gonna ball out myself. I thought they was gonna ball out. I did.
But then I realized though, Clayton, they didn't have a point guard. With all
That's
those,
true.
they need a point guard with that. You know what I mean?
True.
All those shooters, you need somebody.
That's true.
You know
give him the ball. Yeah, to give him the ball in their spot. You know?
I don't know why I thought Bill. What's my man name? Bradley. What's his name?
Bradley.
I thought he could play. I don't know why I thought he could play the one, but. Yeah,
the Wizards, he handled the ball a lot, but he
that's what I thought.
He was like a point guard.
Let me tell you, it's the old saying: he was the best player on a bad team.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. John Wall gave him a run for that money.
Oh yeah, once John left.
Yeah, once he left. Yeah,
he was the best player on a bad team.
I think when they was there together, I think John Wall was better than him.
Oh
yes.
Yeah, definitely.
John Wall was that deal.
John Wall was that dude. He was that dude. Hey, let me read this. Mike Wiseman says, remember in Iowa, the opposing teams tried that, meaning they tried to press Caitlin full court. CC had Kate and Gabby and made them pay time and again. And just like Clayton said, it's like it's not all on Caitlin Clark for her getting pressed all the way over the court. You know what I mean? Like everybody got to learn. It's that chemistry thing. You got to learn each other's tendencies, each other's habits and stuff like that. So you got to know where to be at. So that's a good point. Tom says the 9th best player in the league, which is Caitlin Clark. But the whole NBA team plays her like she's like it's game 7 of the WNBA championship, but she's the 9th best player. Hate or jealousy or both, right? That's crazy.
No, you got to play is because everybody's watching you play her. That's everybody. You got to get, if you're playing Jordan, you get hyped to defense and play against Jordan. 2 things. Why? Because everybody was considering him the best. So if you go up on Jordan, then you got shit to talk about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sometimes your level of your performance has to come up depending on who you playing. And that's what it is because everybody watched Caitlin Clark.
Yeah. Well, look at this though. Look at this little graph right here, this little thing right here, right? So where's Caitlin Clark at? Caitlin Clark,
number 2.
She number 2. So the fans rank her number 1. The media ranks Caitlin Clark number 3, and her players rank her number 9, right? So, and like who we just read right there. That was Time or yeah. So like Time says, right? I mean, I don't get it. I don't get how she's is it. Do y'all think it's jealousy, or it's just what do you think?
Come on, Mike.
To me,
You get it.
to me, the rankings, I would go with the player rankings. Okay. Because everybody else is looking at the games. The players are actually the ones playing on the court with that person. You know what I'm saying? So that's the one thing. And then two, I would think it is a little bit of jealousy there, because if you're not being considered, if you think you're one of the top players and people don't see your efforts, then yeah, you're gonna be a little bit mad. You're gonna be a little bit jealous. Everybody would be, you know?
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
Yeah, there's personal feelings mixed into that, Mike.
Yeah,
I mean, last year she was all WNBA first team.
Yeah.
She was fourth in MVP voting. You know what I'm saying? She started this year off triple-double, all this stuff. I mean, I can't think of, to be honest with you, I can't think of no guard in the league that's better than this young lady. I can't. Some would say Sabrina is that, but Sabrina don't see the floor like Caitlin. Sabrina might play a little better defense, but she don't see the floor like Caitlin.
I don't know if I think the difference between I don't know if Sabrina played better defense. I think
she do.
Caitlin get blocked shots.
She do at times, but I'm just saying Sabrina she can stay in front of her man a little better, to me a little better. And also I say Sabrina got the mid-range over Caitlin. Okay. But Sabrina don't see that floor like Caitlin.
No, she don't.
So I don't know. But
she got
Chelsea. Go ahead.
No. I think she don't see the floor as well. You're right. She don't see the floor as well as Clark.
Now the girl in Atlanta, Alicia Gray, I think she is a great guard. I think she's one of the best guards in the league.
Yeah,
I would rank her up there. I definitely would. Yeah.
Hey, that's okay, because next year Caitlin Clark will be playing for the Lakers. She's gonna be running point for the Lakers.
What my man Kent Carlson says, gentlemen, in your opinion, do you think White is going to make she's going to make a thoroughbred like CC into a plow horse? And no, she can't do that. She's definitely not gonna be able to do that. Turn her into a plow horse.
No.
Yeah. You can't do that.
Angela Z23 says Caitlin Clark is at the top of everyone's scouting report. That's true. I mean, that's facts right there.
I don't mean to be a party pooper, man. I gotta get ready to tap out, man. But I'll be back on tomorrow, gentlemen. I'll be back on tomorrow.
Appreciate
and I'll see you next week, Tom.
All right, respect.
Appreciate you. Let me see. Tom says there's no problem playing Michael Jordan, but you can play Jordan like you play Starks. But you can play Jordan like you play Starks. So I guess he mean it goes both ways. You know what I mean? I guess like with the physical play and it was back and forth.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. I don't know.
We gonna finish talking about the NBA, man?
Yeah, let's get into it. Go. What you got?
Hey, I'm gonna tell you who I'm thinking right now that just is not committed to winning. It's those 76ers, man. What is the 76ers doing, yo? I mean, come on.
I haven't even really heard like any moves. Yeah, I haven't heard any moves that they making. They're not even making a move like with Joel Embiid, like trying to put people around him, or even, you know what I mean, like no trade talks as far as Joel is concerned. Yeah, you're right. They're not trying to do nothing over there in Philly.
I mean, considering the way the East is shaping up now with all the injuries and everything like that, you would think Philly would take Embiid and Paul and be like, okay, we have a nucleus. Let's start doing something with this, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hearing more talk from what Miami move is trying to do than the 76ers. And right now, the 76ers got to be one of the top 5 teams in the East right now.
As long as they got Embiid, you're right.
But do you think some of the players don't want to go play with Embiid?
It's a possibility.
That could be true. Yeah.
But if you're Philly, you got to figure that out. You know what I'm saying? You can't just say what we did last year is now going to be more competitive this year than it was last year, man. Like either you build around Embiid or you get rid of Embiid. Because right now there's so many teams that need a big man. You got people mortgaging phones for big men now.
Who did Philly pick? I know
Al Horford. going to Golden State.
Yeah, that's serious. That's good.
Right.
Who did Philly pick up last year besides Paul George? Did they get somebody else?
Not that I can recall.
No,
Like
not
Tyrese Maxey or somebody?
Maxey was already there though.
He was already there. Gotcha.
Yeah, Maxey was already there.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So
I mean, I'm just saying, you got some teams in the East right now that legitimately have shots, and you got to figure like, what is your front office doing right now?
Did it all just get started though?
Nah, it's been 2 weeks now.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And, the NBA already started. Their summer league already started.
Right. They're
Oh, okay. Yeah, man. Philly said it's the process.
Yeah, trust the process.
It's the process. I don't know.
Yeah, let me see. I wish Tunk hadn't gone off, man. Because I wanted to ask y'all this: is LeBron James afraid to retire? What do y'all think about LeBron James? Is he afraid to retire?
Hey, man, they say his son getting ready to go to college. Maybe holding out for the next son. I don't know.
Yeah,
I can't say, but it does look like the Lakers' new ownership is not in position to bow down to him and his demands and stuff. So it's definitely looking like they're moving off of him. They're moving off of him.
Yeah, it looks to be that way. I think that LeBron, you know what I mean? This probably right here be like his farewell tour if he stayed with the Lakers. You know what I mean? Like his farewell tour.
Yeah.
So people do say I haven't really followed his son. They say his son is more he's better. He better in your opinion than
yes. I sent y'all the link in the group. Yes.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I like him.
Yeah.
I like him a lot. Yep.
But like I said, hopefully he doesn't make the same mistake he made with Bronny. Hopefully he let his son play into the league and don't influence anybody, get him in.
I was going to say the same thing.
LeBron on his way out.
Yeah. So
hey, that don't mean he ain't gonna have no influence.
Yeah.
Bro,
it
seems like everybody turning on him.
Yeah. I don't think LeBron really gonna have I think his leverage is the fact that he is in the NBA. That's where his leverage comes from.
Yeah.
If he not putting butts in the seat, then where's you know what I mean? Where's this leverage?
It's no value anymore. It's like, okay, he on my team, the Lakers, there was value. So I go get his son. But once he ain't on a team, what is he really doing for a team?
Yeah. So I think that and I think that's part of the reason why, and the fact that if you play basketball for all those years, you probably going to miss you know what I mean, being in the locker room, being like that everyday routine, and the lifestyle that comes with being a professional basketball player. I think you're gonna miss that.
Yeah, I mean, he's just like every other person that's at the top of the mountain. You know what I'm saying? You're scared to stop doing it anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's like Tom Brady. In my opinion, Tom Brady should have retired 2 years earlier, but he kept going. As long as he was winning, he didn't really care. As long as he was winning.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and it happens to a lot of the superstars. A lot of superstars play past their time. You know what I'm saying? Because.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man! I forgot. Philly do have Chris Paul.
Oh, they picked up Chris Paul.
Yeah. You know what? But still.
Yeah, they got Chris Paul.
63 years old. Like, what are you going to do?
Yeah. But that playing past your prime, man, it's hard, man. When you love something, it's just hard to walk away. The motto is you do it till you can't no more. And that's what a lot of people want to go out like that. Like,
hey, let me tell you prime example. For some strange reason, I decided to play basketball 2 weeks ago. And I'm still feeling the pain from that. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet
I decided to run a full court against some youngins.
No.
And dumbest thing I've ever done.
Boy, I wish I could have saw that.
No, you don't want it. No. I swear, hey, I was trying to look calm and cool and collective. But I was like, damn, I hope a defibrillator somewhere around here just in case, man.
Man.
Let me tell you, when it got to like 5-2, I wanted to tap out so bad, but I had to keep running for us, yo. For our generation, I had to keep running. They
Hey,
was
bro,
like, oh, look at the
got,
old guy, look at the old guy. I just had
bro,
to keep
you ain't
running.
got to feel no pressure to keep it up for me. I'm good.
Man, hey, I tried to represent for us old guys, man. I tried, boy. But them young boys right now, let me tell you, I hung defense. I hung half court on defense so much, yo. They could have put a bench there for me.
Could you ever play that? Could you play basketball?
I was terrible,
just
but I like to play. I was terrible, but I just like to play. You know what I'm saying? It was one of those things. You know, as a child, if I wasn't playing football, I'm playing basketball. You know that transition like that. Yeah. So I was never really any good, but I like to play.
Yeah.
But that 2 weeks ago, I'm still feeling it right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's a prime example of playing past your prime.
Yeah.
Should have stayed my ass on the golf course, but no.
Yeah.
So
I think hey, look, so retro hairstylist says this, right? She says that Brady should have stayed retired. He lost his wife, right? I think that she should have just hung on. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, you know, you seeing he coming down the wire. She, you know, like he's not gonna be able to play too much longer. She just should have hung on instead of dating that was physical trainer.
I think she found out Tom Brady was smarter than she thought he was, because he hid that money really well.
Yeah, he did,
and she didn't get none of it.
Nah.
So I really think she might have found out what he was doing.
Yeah, I you know, like, and sometimes I think women don't understand guys like that. Their passion comes first. They will, like guys like Kobe and LeBron, and they will sacrifice. Who was the coach you said, man? One coach said he got divorced just so he could coach. You know what I mean? So sometimes their passion and their drive, when you marry into that, you just have to accept that. You're not going to be able to. Certain guys, you're not going to be able to get them to compromise on their passion.
I tell you what, if you try to take that away from them, even if they try to not do it to please you, they're going to be miserable. And your marriage is going to be miserable.
Right. And hold up, and it doesn't have to just do with sports. I know a lot of car guys that's that way. They will spend their last dime on their car. And if the wife try to take their car, their motorcycle, something away from them, it changes them completely.
Yeah.
You have to build your relationship around people's desires and what they like to do. You have to give them the freedom to do that.
Yeah.
Right. You're going to be miserable.
It's just like a prime example. If you marry into a dude that's a sports person and you know they like sports, you know they attend all the sports things, and you try to snatch that away from that guy's going to be miserable. But if you go into the mindset that, okay, he likes sports, maybe I need to find out what he likes so I can share into it, or just let him do his thing and don't bother him. Yeah. Then, you know, that's how you build on that. But sometimes people just don't understand that sometimes, man.
Yeah, it can definitely, if they know how to manage that situation, it can definitely work in their behalf. But they're trying to get them away from their passion. It's not.
I know this millennium, these millenniums now, their passion, a lot of their passion is video games. And they play video games now.
And some women hate guys that play video games. You know, they hate to see guys play video games.
Don't date one. Don't date one.
Right. But you got these guys, you got these kids out here now making millions of dollars playing video games. Sitting at home, streaming on YouTube, making $1 million a year.
Yeah, hey, but look, we just joking with you, Retro. I mean, it's the truth to what I'm saying, though. You know, understand that, you know, and the thing about men, I don't think we really try. Men don't go into relationships really trying to change a woman. You know what I mean? What you say, Clay? I think like what you do is what you do.
Yeah, but it depends on your archetype as a person. Some men do try to change women too. I think it goes both ways.
Yeah, but for the most part, I never heard, you know, most guys say, well, I'm going to try to, you know, it's more so seems to me like a woman thing to try to change a man.
It's more like the old
Anybody
cliche.
can
In my opinion, it's more like the old cliche they used to play. Women wants to marry guys like their fathers, and fellas wants to marry women like their mothers.
Like their mothers.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So when you talk a fact of changing somebody, she may be, or we as men may be attracted to them physically.
Yeah.
But then in our mindset, we want to change them to be like something that we want.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and let me just say this. Retro said mine did. He would have made me Amish, right?
Yeah.
But look,
Exactly.
and that remind me, like my sister converted to Jehovah's Witness for her husband. So yeah, you're right. It's possible. But I just think that when people get into relationships, you gotta understand like what your other, like what their purpose is. You know what I mean? Like what your wife's purpose is, and what your husband's purpose is, and yeah. So,
and be willing to either change or deal with it. You know, you gotta figure out what you're able to accept.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of things
That's
go wrong
right
with.
there.
People go into these relationships and be like, okay, I can change, and then if they don't change it, then there's the problem. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you gotta understand what you're walking into before you walk into it, not while you're walking into it.
Yeah.
So
you listen, man. Trying to change somebody to get them away from their desires is like trying to tell a crackhead not to chase crack. It's impossible.
It's
You can't.
a drug. Yeah, it's a drug.
It's a drug. Yes.
It is like a drug. Yeah.
It's a drug. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm a Cowboys fan. If I date a woman that's a Commanders fan, that might be a deal breaker right there.
Right. But you know that going in though, right?
But see,
Right.
you understand you. You understand you. And too many people try to find their happiness through another person. And that's another thing that's a downfall. That's why you're trying to change certain things. I want you to be this way. You got to find that happiness within yourself and then match it with somebody else's happiness and accept who they are. If you can't accept who they are, don't get involved, man.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
Yep. You'd be miserable. Yeah. Tom Brady and that girl, they had a nice run, though. Shit.
They did. I mean, they had a long relationship.
All the way up until they let that boy Brown into the house. All the way up until they let Brown into the house.
Yeah.
And they look what happened.
Crazy.
Yeah,
I ain't putting that on Antonio, but he caught a murder charge or something, didn't he?
Attempted murder, I think. Yeah.
Attempted murder. Yeah. That's crazy.
I don't know if it's going to or not, but yeah, they got him on film running down the street with, So yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, man. I told you I knew, we could have another good show. Let me see. Retro hairstylist, we appreciate you. Angela Z 23, Time, we appreciate you. Jim, we appreciate you. Who else we had in here?
Tell Jim I'm gonna talk about
him.
Yeah, Eastside Legend always come up with some great comments. Time.
The guy that live in Kansas, right outside of Iowa.
Rooker.
The guy something soul. It's something soul something.
Oh,
I can't
okay.
think.
All right. So we got Mike Wiseman. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Ghost. Appreciate
he was
you.
with us last week. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking for his name here though. We got Mike Wiseman. Man, we appreciate everybody. Just make sure to like and subscribe, man. We'll be back tomorrow morning. What's up?
And tell those guys that told us to check out Benji, the guy from Chicago. I watched his documentary.
Yeah.
That dude was smooth. He got gunned down. Yeah. Remember we was talking about Len Bias's tragic death? Yeah. And they was talking about this kid from Chicago. Everybody, Magic Johnson called his brother, wanted to play with him. He was, everybody. He played with Tim Hardaway and them.
Yeah.
Everybody was talking about this kid. They showed some highlights. Yeah, I watched that dude. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who was that, but yeah, I remember us talking about him.
Yeah.
Carlson, appreciate you. Let me see. Yeah,
it was so good. It made me watch the documentary on Len Bias again. So I watched both of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was good stuff. Yep. But man, Y'all fellas have a good show tomorrow, man. You know,
Yeah.
I get
All
with you
right.
guys next week. All right.
Man,
All
you'll
right,
be here tomorrow.
guys.
You're gonna do some golfing, Jack.
I'm going. Yeah, I'm starting at 8 o'clock in the morning. So I'm doing some golfing tomorrow. 8 o'clock in the morning. I'll let y'all know what the score is when we do the podcast.
My man.
I am one of the most terrible golfers in Baltimore, baby, and I'm proud of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I lose about 20 balls a game, but you know what? It's all about the beer at the end.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what it's all about.
Peace out, y'all.
As long as you
All right,
can,
guys.
Okay.
all right.
Peace.
Henry, let me see. Henry, appreciate you. We about to sign off. Nick Anderson. Yeah. Yep. So, all right, man. Y'all make sure to like and subscribe. Tune in tomorrow at 11 a.m. Henry, tune back in tomorrow, man, at 11 a.m. We'll be live again. And with that being said, I'm out.